I'm really happy to welcome the horn section of the band of the Coldstream Guards. Thank you so much, boys, for coming and talking to me today. After all that marching around in your hard boots, I was really impressed. You must actually be quite fit to do this job.
A little. It takes a bit of blow, but...
Do you ever get out of breath when you're on a march?
Yes, going up the hill at Windsor.
At Windsor, because on the way to Buckingham Palace there are no hills.
No, it's fine around here.
And you all look really incredible. This is your summer uniform, right?
Yes.
And is it very hot?
It's very hot. It's lines of wool inside and it's very tight. And the belt is expertly positioned so it restricts all breathing, expansion of the diaphragm and things.
Yes, and you have to take a really big breath, then you just can't, basically.
Not a proper one, no.
Okay, so it's sounding really comfortable so far. Marching while you play, Mike, what is it very disturbing for the mouthpiece?
Yeah, pretty disturbing. I mean, the most of the music we play, we're not on the melody that often, so that makes it a bit easier. But
so no big tunes, just offbeats.
A few, but particularly in slow marches, we do get a few big tunes. But generally, when we're marching, it's something a bit more simple.
So Chris, what are the good things about this job? It sounds like really hard work. You get out of breath, you wear a hot uniform, and you play offbeats.
Well, we do some great concerts. That for me, that is one of the best parts of the job. We go out and play. Well, we've actually played at Cadogan Hall this year already. We've done quite a few other concerts and tours. We go to Japan quite regularly.
So proper concerts, not
proper
just
concerts.
Proper concerts.
Yes, yeah.
Do you sit or stand for
Sit.
those? Okay, so
Yep.
not a march inside.
Sometimes we do. At the start, we have a few of us will march on, do a fanfare, and then come back down and sit down because the punters quite like to see the bearskin because it's what we're famous for. But
of course.
Generally, it's all sat down when we do concerts.
It's a very impressive. We've got bearskins all over the place. You were just putting yours. You don't have to brush it or anything, but show me how you.
Well, we have to brush them.
You have to brush them.
But if you, when we're travelling about, they go in boxes, so you'll get something like that. So if you just give it a shake and
it's like a dog going brrr.
Just fluffs it up a bit. So
and they've got this strap, this chain. Is that difficult for horn playing or any sort of wind playing? Because it sort of comes here and...
It does. You kind of have to get it on top and then adjust it downwards, but you get used to it. It's not too bad.
Yeah. Nick, tell me, you're the principal horn here. How long have you been in the band?
18 years now.
18 years, my goodness, 18 years. And how are your ears? Because it's quite loud out there, isn't it?
Well, we used to have a very loud bass drummer when I joined, Pete McAlane, and I marched right behind him. Now as I got promoted up the section and ends up principal, I'm on the end, so it's not too bad. And
that's a good place to be, on the end.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
But now we wear earplugs when we march, which is...
It's quite
takes
loud
away
out
the
there,
pain,
isn't it? Yeah, it takes away the pain. But so tell me, what is a day in the life of the band of the Coldstream Guards like? You were here very early this morning.
Well, there's no set day. It's an evolving job where there's no set schedule. But virtually every day we have to wear some kind of uniform. So there's a period where you do your kit. So for a guard like today, you probably spend around at least an hour doing your kit, preparing for that. You'll warm up, you'll have a rehearsal for guard. But then the other large aspect of the job is that we're completely self-managed. So we all have jobs in the band. Mick runs the instrument stall. Mark trains us. He's a physical training instructor.
You make them run up and down hills?
Yeah.
Really?
It makes me very popular.
So a large part of the day we'll be doing administrative tasks as well.
Okay. And you also arrange and arrange music. You have to get the music all from the big A4 paper. You have to put them in your little, what would you call them?
The card cases.
The card cases, that's right. How many pieces do you actually play a day? Do you get given them before you have to go and find them? Do you have a librarian?
We have a march card librarian, and he sorts all that out. It's one of the worst jobs in the band. But
Who gets to do
they
that?
never stop. Our bass trombonist, I can't remember his nickname now. Gray, what's his name? Matt Gray. Yes, they just work endless hours.
Gosh, yeah. So you've done your kit, and then you've warmed up, because you have to warm up the instruments. You can't just go out there and play. I was actually astounded at how good the band is live. You know, it really fantastic playing going on, which means you must actually have to practice quite a lot. You're on your own. Yeah.
He makes us.
He makes us. Ah.
I find, I mean, I'm probably rubbish, but I find the effects of marching really tighten your embouche up unbelievably, and so it takes an age to sort of soften that the next day after every day of marching, and particularly this time of year, we do more marching than any other time of the year, so your lips are absolutely sort of rock solid and not particularly responsive, so I have to sort of square myself away.
How do you do that? You just go away and do all the exercises.
A load of flexibilities and sort of bashing the thing senseless.
I guess it's also not easy for the sound, because I mean we all play the horn because we love the sound of the horn, don't you agree? And so how can you keep that beautiful sound when you're marching all day? Because it's quite hard. You have to really you're out there against the loudest of the lot out there.
With great difficulty. Yeah, I mean, when you're marching, obviously, it's very difficult to keep the instrument steady. So you're always going to get a slight kind of a wobble when you're marching.
Yeah. And what about the sound? So when you go home, when you do some practice of your own, what do you play?
Oh, when I go home, I just usually, I mean, I'll do quite a few warming up exercises, and then I'll basically do some. Well, I've got. What do they call them?
Some studies and stuff.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes.
So you play studies and some concertos just to remind yourself that you're what instrument you're playing, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you?
Just to counteract the damage caused through the marching.
The damage. It sounds really painful, actually. What you do.
Well,
I can't imagine marching and playing, actually.
Well, I've actually at the moment I've got a little problem with my lip. It's not affecting my playing at the moment, but it's I think it's bruised from a lot of the marching that we've been doing. So the dentist was having a look at that the other day.
I'm getting a little bit worried about you. It sounds like a really tough job.
It's quite going to the palace is okay, but you don't know what surface you'll be marching on. So when the trip up to Windsor Castle used to be quite treacherous. There used to be a lot of potholes. You'd be happily playing away, and all of a sudden you would hit a dent or something missing in the road, and all of a sudden...
And cobbles are particularly treacherous. If it's been raining and you hit the cobbles and you feel like you could be skating on ice.
That's the first time I learnt to do a Cossack dance as I was marching down the esplanade at Edinburgh Castle.
Oh dear. And your instrument?
Luckily I stayed up, but it was,
Do you have like personal highlights? What do you actually really enjoy doing? What's the best part about this job?
We play a lot of football and rugby matches, so Wembley, at Twickenham, myself and Nick are playing at FA Cup final.
When they say they're playing a lot of rugby and football matches, it means you're playing your instruments at them. Right?
Yeah, we play the anthems. So myself and Nick are playing at the FA Cup final on Saturday.
That's very cool. That's a real perk of the job, isn't it?
And we played the Six Nations. Thursday was the Queen's summer garden party at the Palace. So we played at that. That's quite a highlight. And the concerts, generally, touring.
The touring. Yes, how does that work? The Japanese must go crazy for you lot.
Oh, they love us, yeah.
They must go absolutely crazy. Fantastic. A bit of pomp and circumstance and all things British.
Yeah.
That's, what happens in Japan? You go from concert hall to concert hall and...
Yeah, it's the tour's evolving. It used to be a solely a concert tour and nothing else, but the last tour we did, we had many marching displays and engagements for consulates and embassies and things. And we integrated marching and concert performance a lot more on the last tour.
I bet they loved that.
Yeah.
But when you march all the time outside, what about your instruments? What happens when it rains, Chris? What do? You have to play?
Still have to play, yes.
Colour Sergeant Hardy was telling me that there's different types of rain. There's rain where you can still march, and there's rain where you really can't.
Yeah, if it's really heavy, then we'll get a rain off, or that if we've already marched out and it's started to rain heavily, they'll march us, to the side, and we'll stop playing.
But there's a trick that the wind instruments use, isn't that right?
That's right. Yeah, the wind instruments, they'll put the clarinets up the sleeves, just to keep.
So they just march. They don't play.
They don't play.
And how does that sound?
Better, much better. I put them somewhere else.
And Nick, you were telling me something about marching in the spring. What happens to the horns when you march in the spring?
Oh, all the blossoms come off the trees, and they get inside the horns, and the valves seize up. So there's certain manufacturers, which I won't mention, but we found that their horns, the valves would stop working, but we couldn't get them ever back to the same again. So we use Alexander's now.
You use Alexander's horn.
Never
I
have
to
a
get
problem.
that into a horn interview somewhere. You use Alexander horns. I
Yes.
was really happy to see that. I'm very impressed with
Oh,
that.
we love them.
Yeah, and they don't. Is it painful for them to have these music stands attached to them? I mean, I tried it once with mine. It scratched it completely.
Well, we have a little bracket welded onto ours.
Welded on?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So it's a special, a custom-made one. And there's a great story about the Coldstream Guards band, about the horn player who was so well loved and well known that he almost had a state funeral. What was that?
Yeah, he had a state funeral. I think it was around 1810. And
He was a horn player in the band.
in the band. He was supposed to be one of the best horn players in Europe at the time. And 10,000 people came to watch it, which is quite an enormous figure for anyone, but thinking how many people lived in London at the time. And it was an actual state funeral, and we had a Coldstream Guards band, the Grenadier Guards band, and the Scots Guards band all marching and soldiers lining the streets as a procession round central
That's
London
how-
going to Westminster Abbey.
That's how horn players should be celebrated, don't you think?
Definitely.
Chris, can I ask you, you went into the army as a horn player, or do you feel more a soldier than a horn player, or are you a musician first?
I was a musician first. Went into the army as a horn player in January 1982. And I tried to get in the Guards bands, but there were no vacancies. So they said, look, just join the army. You'll be able to transfer over first opportunity. Well, it took me 10 years, 9 months before I could finally do it.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. And would you do anything else, or have you just loved it?
I've just loved it, yeah. I mean, I even gave up my rank, because by which time I'd been in the Anglians, I'd worked my way up to corporal. When I passed my audition to come to the Coldstream Guards, I was told I'm going to have to lose the rank and start all over again, but that was fine. That was the fact that I actually got here was enough.
Fantastic. And Mike, how do people get into a band like this? If there are people watching that think, I want to do that, I want to wear these, I want to wear this bearskin hat and play with these wonderful horn players, how do they do it?
Well, the Army is recruiting horn players in particular at the moment, and also many other instruments, and they would have to audition to the Royal Military School of Music, contact any of the band recruiting teams, and then after that they would go to phase 1 training, a little bit of military discipline and drill, and then they would go on to phase 2, which is the musical side at the Royal Military School of Music, Kneller Hall, and that would be where they would hone their instrumental playing, practice playing and marching, and get to the standard required, so that when they can join the wider army bands, then they're able to hit the ground running, as it were.
Are they on a trial period when they join? Because we have in my orchestra, we have a 2-year trial period. It's a long one.
We don't have a trial period like the orchestras.
Okay, so they get in and then they're in. Thank you so much for taking the time. I am in awe of what you do. I don't know how you do it, marching and playing at the same time. It's just really quite incredible. So
You should try it.
I should try
You
it.
should try it.
What, marching and playing at the
With
same
us.
time? I don't think I could do that.
I'm sure you can.
I don't. Would I get to wear a bearskin hat?
Chills.
All right then. Should we give it a go?